welcome. I am doing a very, very, very special live chat today. I don't do things like this often because, quite frankly, I hate everything about wrestling. I hate talking about wrestling, and I'd rather be watching baseball. However, when I hear from this individual, I stop everything, because she is one of the very, 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 very special ladies that I worked with over the years. They were all very, very special to me at TNA. But at the top of the list, yeah, a little gnarly, but I loved her for who she was, because I got to tell you, man, she's about as real as it gets. And you know me, man, I am a no political zone bullshit. I can't stand that crap. When there is something on this woman's mind, this woman let me know. As a matter of fact, there were plenty of times when I said things that she didn't like, and she would just look at me and say, "These nuts, I was management." And she was saying "these nuts," and that was before girls had nuts. She was saying "these nuts." And when she said "these nuts," I knew she meant business, and I knew I was in trouble. And I am talking about my friend, the great, the unique, the one and only ODB, Jessie Crusher. What is going on, ODB?
What's up? Well, thanks for the intro. Yes, I always got you on these nuts.
These nuts, bro. I'm in management. You're supposed to be afraid of me. I got the book, and you're telling me these nuts.
Yeah, no wonder I got fired like 3 times.
Well, I can assure you, you never got fired by me. But I got to tell you, man, I was really surprised because, listen, man, you've got great credentials. You've done it all. You've got your own business. You prove there's life after wrestling.
Yeah.
But I never dreamed of ODB author. You have to tell me like how this came about, because I had no idea this book was coming out. You got to tell me how this came about.
Well, I don't like telling people what I'm really doing until it's actually done. So I've been working on this for about 1.5 years.
Wow.
I actually reached out to Mick Foley. I mean, I wanted to write a book, so I reached out to him, and he came to the food truck, and I sat down with him, chit chat. I'm like, I want to write a book, and he's like, "Oh, you have a hell of a story, kid." So he put me in touch with his publisher, Kenny Cass, and we just started doing it. I wasn't afraid, because I'm not, like you said, sorry, I was going over a railroad track here. Like I said, I'm just me. I'm real. I didn't hurt anyone in my book, but I did tell my side of the story, which is what a lot of people want. They want to hear the gossip and the juice. And so it's a fun book. It's a fun read.
Let me ask you this first. We'll get into the gossip and the juice and the dirt and all that, but I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this first. What was the process as far as your involvement? Because I can tell you this because I witnessed this. Mick Foley's very first book, Foley is God, I think was the first book, I believe. He wrote that whole book by hand. On planes, he had stacks and stacks of yellow notebooks. I witnessed this. What was your process? What was your involvement in actually getting the words on the page? How were you involved in that?
I was actually being interviewed, and I told my story by talking. I did not write, because when I have something,
go ahead.
You have to hear it from my mouth. I can't write it. I can't.
You must have had hours and hours and hours of sessions then. Hours.
Yes.
So who's the person who wrote the book with you, and how was that relationship?
So Kenny Casanova, never met him before, but Mick Foley put me in touch with him. So I was like, well, if Mick likes you, you must be good people. And he basically got to know me. So he interviewed me a lot for this past year and a half, and we'd go back, edit it a little bit, and then I would forget, because like when you're telling your story, you're like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Oh damn, what about this? And it was fun. I enjoyed it.
You must have been doing a lot of that through the COVID period, I would assume. What a great project to do during, because I'm sure there was a lot of Zooming back and forth. I mean, that was a great time to do the book.
Yep, it was, and it was during. Yeah, so I guess I did start it right at like in 2021.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we have, just so you know, in the chat room, I want to point this out because she promised you she would be tuning in. Lisa Marie Varon is in the house, and she knows how much. Yeah, I love her. I'm a big fan of Tara's as well. She is in the house. She is telling everybody, buy her book, baby. And we are gonna get, because I'm telling you, there's gonna be juice, and there's gonna be dirt, and there's gonna be all kinds of stuff. Listen, that had to be hard for you, because listen, we all know the stories sell, the dirt sells, the gossip, but to me, like, you're not that person. Like, you're very guarded. You're not. I've never known you to throw anybody out of the bus or bury anybody ever. So how difficult was that with you? Because I'm sure the publisher is going to want the dirt. So how hard was that for you to toe the line?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to bury you, because a lot of people are my friends in the business, and but I did tell stories that were obviously there, but it didn't hurt. It's not hurting anyone. But I do tell one person to go F themselves a few times in my book.
Do you don't have to do it here because I want them to buy the book, but do you name that person?
I sure do.
Oh, okay. So numerous times there's one guy that you basically said, these nuts down here.
Yeah, a guy or a girl. You never know.
I got to ask you this question, because you and I have never had this conversation. Okay.
All right.
And listen, listen, we may disagree, but that's okay. We're always going to be friends. We can agree to disagree. And I know a lot of the girls disagree with me, but to this day, I always protect Dixie. As a woman, I thought Dixie was a great person, but was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Should not have been running a wrestling company. If Dixie would have had nothing to do with wrestling, I think she would have been a great person. And I like to look at her as that person. But I know a lot of the girls at TNA had big time heat with Dick. I mean, Velvet. I can't even say Dixie's name in front of Velvet. I forget about it. Yeah. What was your relationship like with Dixie? Like, honestly, I don't think Lisa Marie was a big fan either. What was your relationship with Dixie?
Is she the
person you dropped the F-bomb on numerous times?
Yeah, you just got to read my book.
No, what was your, because I never really heard you talk about her. What was your relationship with Dixie?
Oh, a fake one. Definitely. Okay. I could tell, like, it was, she always put me over when I was there. Like, oh, would he be? Oh, fans love you. You're great. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, pay me more, bitch.
Show me the money, right? If I'm as great as you say I am, show me the money.
Yeah, she didn't show me shit. So, and there's a few things that I heard, scenes that, it's coming from her and going in a different direction with the girl. So I put two and two together, but yeah, I mean, that's. Yeah.
So were you given the
old? I wasn't a fan.
Were you given the old at one point we're going in a different direction with the girls, and what was that supposed to mean?
Well, I remember, when all of a sudden my contract was all of a sudden like wasn't around anymore, but I still had, another year or so on it. But all of a sudden the contract wasn't there, and then I believe it was when Bischoff and Hogan came in, and then Kong left, I left, and then I came back like 8 months later. And then that's when me and Jackie came back, me and Jackie Moore.
Right.
And we're playing the whole, like, we want our jobs back and beating up Velvet and all that. And
now you didn't tell Eric at any point, Eric Bischoff or Hulk Hogan, you didn't tell them at any point these nuts, did you?
No.
Because that might have been the problem right there. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure, because that might have been the problem right there.
No, because when they kind of came in, I was leaving.
Yeah.
A little bit, and then I came back, and Bischoff's like, "Where you been?" I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me. Aren't you in charge of any of this?"
Here the thing about you and the thing about working with your character that I always loved, and listen, man, I can't say this about too many people, especially when I put wrestling on today, and so many people, I can't tell one from the other. They all look like my next door neighbor. The thing I loved about you is there's only one you, like nobody else. Like you could tell anybody, do the ODB character, and I just don't think there's anybody. I gotta ask you this, man. Was this always you? Was this you as a 5-year-old? Was this you as a teenager in school? Was this always you? I gotta know that.
I was very quiet growing up. Like I was, and then I think going to college obviously helped me get out of my shell a little bit. Letting loose.
Was there something in particular though? If you were shy and then all of a sudden you start morphing into this she-beast, ODB, did something trigger that? Like, how do you think that happened?
I think in college I started, because I didn't drink in high school or nothing. In college, started going to parties, drinking Busch Light, and then girls would someone would be there bump into me, and I started getting a little feisty, like, the fuck you looking at? I do that to guys too.
Now, what about working out, bodybuilding? When did that become a part of your life? Because you were, listen, I'm gonna say you were always a she beast. Listen, I'm drawn to the woman who I know could kick my ass. I'm telling you, when I talk about, Lisa, she could kick your ass. Yeah. You talked about Jackie, forget about it.
I'm glad Jackie I was on her team.
I'm drawn to that. So when did the physical part of your personality come into play?
Oh boy. But I think in high school, because I was a jock in high school, so I was always in the weight room and set the record for bench pressing, and I always watched American Gladiator, so I always wanted to be all jacked
So is that what you wanted to do? Something more of a gladiator type thing than wrestling? How did that happen?
No, I always wanted to be a wrestler since when I was little, but watching American Gladiators, the women I was like, holy shit, they're huge. I never got to that hugeness, but
yeah. Now, did you have a favorite female wrestler growing up?
No, I was more focused on the guys. I mean, I take that back. Scary Sherry, Sensational Sherry, and Luna were two of my, which I did get to work with before they passed.
Oh, that is awesome. Man, I've known Medusa for a very long time. Yeah. And you'll love this story, because Medusa tells me the story of the first one they ever worked her with was Sherry. and she said Sherry would beat the absolute shit out of her. And you know, that's the funny thing, because Sherry was finding out if she's tough enough for the business, if she's going to hang with her and she's going to make it. And of course, Medusa failed the test. And listen, man, that's kind of like the era that we lived in. We got a lot of sissy Marys in the business now, man. Like, how do you think that happened? I don't you know what bothers me more than anything? I want to see if you feel the same way. I am very insulted that all of a sudden something happened where anybody can become a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
How did that happen? In the past, it would take a Medusa, a Sherry, a you, a Kong, you know, a real woman with toughness to be a wrestler. Now any mamby-pamby can be a wrestler. It drives me crazy. It's got to drive you crazy.
Yes, I think social media has a big part. It's how many followers you have. You pose in bikinis. Like, I couldn't tell you if I went and followed all these women wrestlers, I couldn't even tell you if they were wrestlers, because all they do is pose in bikinis and, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, what do you do? You know?
Yeah.
They all look the same, and it took all of us knockouts years and years to finally get that break, because there was only WWF or WWE and then TNA at the time. Now you can get a job. You're 2 years in the business. That's the problem.
Yeah.
People aren't paying their freaking dues.
Yeah. And
they don't know how to traveling up and down the road is, because that's where you learn it from. You learn it from hanging out with the people that came before you, drinking beer, keeping your mouth shut, and hanging out, and then driving.
Who do you think taught you the most? Who'd you learn the most from?
I would have to say Al Snow.
Oh, Al's good. You know, I do a show with Al. Me and Al do a show every week. We always talk about the good old days. What a mind he's got for the business, huh?
Yeah. That's where ODB pretty much got polished off in OVW.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm rooting for you. He's like, they just don't like you up there. Just keep doing you. You're going to get somewhere. And I did. And then that's when, TNA got me. But yeah, he just let me beat me.
And speaking of that, and we're going to find out all about you in this book, Jessie Kresa. How do I Kresa.
Yeah.
Jessie Kresa is ODB. When is the day? This is coming out like any day.
It is up for pre-sale right now, so you can go to my website, odbsmeetandgreet.com, or pre-order your book. But I will officially have it in my hands September 15th.
Now, will they be able to maybe online get this signed by you? You got anything like that worked out yet?
Yep, that's all on there. And then I am going to be doing appearances, doing a little book tour. So I'll be making some wrestling appearances. I'll be at WrestleCade this year. I'm on the Chris Jericho cruise.
Now, the last time you and I spoke, I know you're a lot like me. I knew you were trying to get away from this wrestling thing, but I also know business is business. You got to sell and promote this book. So is this a difficult time for you where I got to sell the book? I got to get myself back out there, but I'm kind of stepping back because your food truck business has been so freaking successful. You don't need to do this. Do you got mixed emotions, or do you think you've been out of it long enough now? I want to get back in.
I got mixed emotions. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship. It's like I'm on my food truck, which is awesome. We're working our asses off, and then people are like, "Oh, you gonna get in the ring again, ODB? You still got it?" I'm like, "Eh." And then I'll go to these appearances, and then I get mixed emotions where I'm like, "Oh fuck, never do that again." but then I'm thinking, shit. I watch these girls. I'm like, someone needs to get in there and kick someone's ass.
Yes.
So I want, because there's no, I don't know. I don't think ODB's done yet. You know.
You're like Michael Corleone, and they keep pulling me back.
But I don't want to be like that, all grizzled, showing No, but
I don't think you'll ever have to worry about being grizzled. You know, because well, let's face it, ODB was born grizzled.
yeah,
So
yeah, like,
I don't think all of a sudden they're going to start referring to you as grizzled. Now, let me ask you this about the book, because this is what I want to know. But you know what I hate? I want to know if you share this with me. I hate this. I worked with so many freaking great people, and I feel that after all these years, when I walked away, I know nothing about these people, because the day of the show, it's all about the show.
yeah.
And I never got to really ask the questions about you. Kevin Nash just told a story about his mother on his podcast that brought me to tears. I didn't have a clue. So I want to know, are you going to get into that in the book? Is it a lot about growing up and childhood and high school and college and influences and relationship with parents? Is it about all that?
It actually is. It starts me as a little girl, and it shows. It starts me as a little girl, and you're gonna see my growing up. I mean, I don't have a sad story. I really don't. Like, I grew up in an awesome family, hardworking. Mom and dad are still alive, still together, still live in the same house we grew up in. And then my college days, I start from the very beginning. Yes.
You think people will be surprised, or do you think people will like, yeah, that's ODB, or do you think they'll read sides about you that will shock them?
I think so, because I was just a little sweet little girl.
A polite, nice little dress wearing, going to church on Sundays.
No, we didn't do that.
All right, well, let's not get panicky. You going to church? So
we did Disney World. I was at Disney World a lot.
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, I say this all the time, but it's a little different because, I went to school for writing. I've got a degree in journalism. I always wanted to write a book. So that to me is my greatest accomplishment. I don't care about anything else.
That's awesome.
This has to be really special for, because I would have never thought of, like I said, ODB author.
Yeah.
Man, this has to be really special to put this on your resume with everything you've accomplished in your life.
I know it still hasn't really hit me yet because it's not out quite yet, so no one's read it. So I am a little nervous for people to read it, but then I'm like, well, fuck it. It's my story. People are going to critique it, whatever, but I'm excited for people to read it. And it's cool because in women's wrestling, not a lot of women write books.
That's a great point. And excellent. And why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I think people are just afraid to tell their story, or afraid, like, oh, I don't want to say that, or I don't want to get in trouble. I'm like, who, or offend anyone? Like, who the fuck? I can't get in trouble.
Yeah.
So if you don't like my book or what I said about you, I don't really care.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you. It's real interesting, the Mick connection. What was that connection made at TNA? Is that when you became friends with Mick?
Yep, he was just genuine. Like, I remember him coming in, and him and his wife were there, and I think a couple of his kids were there, and introduced myself. And actually, Al Snow would always talk about me to him when I was at OVW. So when Mick Foley was actually too at the Tough Enough tryouts, the very first one where I was at. So Mick was there and seen me from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we always kept in touch. And
Lisa, a good friend Lisa, is saying people will be very surprised by this book. So Lisa has got a copy. She's read this book.
No, she has a chapter or two in it.
What am I, chop liver? I gotta wait in line to get this book like everybody else.
And you have quite the chapter or two too.
All right, listen, you got to promise me this. I got to go to your website to get this book, for crying out loud. Is that what I got to do?
Send me your address.
Okay, listen, you got to promise me this. I got to get the book. I don't read because I hate reading.
I got to read it to you.
I swear to God, that would be great. I swear to God, the only wrestling book I've ever read is Mick's first book. That's the only wrestling book I've ever read. I'm reading this book, but you got to promise me, once I read this book, you're coming back on with me, because I'm going to have to talk about some of the things in this book.
Oh yeah, you're going to get a kick out of it, because I put your ass over in my book.
Very nice, very nice.
You were one of my favorites. You always believed in me, and
yes,
the one thing I like is when I pitched an idea, you said yeah, and then all of a sudden a month later I'm doing it.
Yeah, of course.
You know what?
You're not new to the rodeo. You know what you're doing. Yes.
You let me do the thing, and I remember the talking trash with ODB, or ODB's angle I got.
Yes.
I tell that story in there, and then you're like, oh fuck, just do whatever. Just as long as you get this in and this in, just tell your story, you're good.
Well, what I said, I'm sure what I've said, and I'm telling you this right now, and I will tell you this to the day I die. You will always be over as long as you're you. And that's what I always used to say. Be you, because there isn't a freaking other you.
Right. Thank God.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get the book. I'm gonna read the book. We're gonna talk about it. But now, again, tell everybody the date, the pre-order, where to go, how they can get you to sign it, where they could find these tour dates out. Give everybody all that information.
All right, everything is on my website, odbsmeetandgreet.com, and go follow me at the ODB BAM. You get all my info there, the schedule, the book. You can go right there, click on it, and I'll have the book in my hand in 2 weeks. So then I'll be sending out, and then my barbecue sauce, of course, and hot sauce you can get to.
Now, I'm assuming there's pictures in the book.
Yes, it's definitely a lot of pictures.
So, but are we going to see a little ODB, a young ODB? Are we going to see from the beginning?
Yeah, you're gonna see from the beginning. I got some cool pictures. I
can't wait. I can't wait.
And did you know I was a ballerina growing up?
Oh my! There's a picture of you as a ballerina in this book. That's the price. That's worth the price of the book alone.
That's a good one too.
Listen, I say this all the time, you guys. You know, I always say this all the time. A lot of times, man, I talk about the underbelly of the wrestling business and the politics and the reasons why I'm away. I'm glad to be away from it. However, bro, ODB is one of the good ones and one of the special ones. And I say this all the time, man, you've got to support people like her. So when the book comes out, pre-order it now. One more time with the address so they're remembering. Guys, write this down. Go there right now. Pre-order the book. Man, if I've ever met any character in my life who can tell stories, it is ODB. And you know what? If you guys, here's the important thing, ODB, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this. If your book sells well, this will open up for other women now in the business to write books. They should all have a book. So
and you guys, I want other girls, especially the knockouts, because we have quite the story to tell. You know, being some of the original knockouts, and especially women these days, and little girls need to, they need to look up to some of us, and some of us, the people that came before, way back in the day. So people absolutely. Lisa Marie needs to write a book.
Lisa Marie will bury me in her book because she yelled at me over the Tara name. Cut a promo, yelled at me, which hurt my feelings to this very day. I never forgot about. But she definitely needs to write a book.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah, she's the best, man. All right, give the address one more time. Go ahead.
All right, so it's odbsmeetandgreet.com.
Now,
go there.
Is it meet, MEAT, right? MEAT, right? Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yep. So odbsmeatandgreet.com.
Yes. All right, there you go, guys. Pre-order the book. When the book comes out, will they be able to get it at bookstores, Amazon, all that stuff, right?
We do an Amazon. And of course, if you come to my food truck, you can buy it from there. But bookstores, you never know. Barnes and Nobles want to put the dirty bitch in there.
I don't know if they want to. I don't know if they want to allow you in Barnes and Noble though. You might be running people off. That might be bad for business.
Maybe
All
I'll
right,
be at the library.
The great ODB, man, support her. Get her old book, her new book, Jessie Kresa. Why can't I? It's too hard to say. It's what nationality are you? Like, are you 10 different nationalities?
I'm half Irish and half Polak.
You got no Italian in there, not even a little Italian in there, no Italian in there.
No Italian, no.
All right. God bless you anyway. All right, everybody, the great ODB, go to the website, buy the book. When it comes out, I'm going to read it and I'll get you on here again and we can discuss it.
Oh boy, that sounds like a hell of a good time.
All right. Good luck with everything, ODB. I'll talk to you soon.
Bam, bitches.
All right, bye.